Once billed as the greatest amusement park in the entire West, Lakeside still takes you back to a time of sweet and simple pleasures, when people came from all over the state to stroll the tree-lined walks, ride the merry-go-round, dance to the country's greatest bands, and see the marvelous new electric lights paint the night sky. The merry-go-round, built by C.W. Parker from Kansas, has been at Lakeside Amusement Park since the day the park opened, Memorial Day, 1908, back when it was called White City.
This carousel is in its third building and second location, actually, and it's up about here. The first location was over in this area up in here.
It's sort of their fantasies.
Barbara Charles saw Lakeside back in the 1970s as she traveled around the country creating the first carousel census. Today, she's meeting with 3 generations of the Krasner family who have owned and operated the park since 1935. Rhoda, her mother Miriam, and daughter Brenda.
I find it's the most unusual of the carousels I've ever seen. It's really, well, it's very much like folk art. You know, and I know that Parker, this was his big commission. He really had not made a big ride before this. And so I can imagine that the people from White City came and said, we just want the best ride you can possibly make, and he went all out on it. And it's just an incredible carousel.
For a long time, this was Colorado's mystery carousel. We know it was built by C.W. Parker, but it is a very unusual carousel for the Parker Company, which generally built carousels with just horses. This one is a menagerie with all sorts of animals. It is the only Parker menagerie carousel left. The little animals on the 2 inner rows and the secondary carvings are unlike any other Parker carousel still in existence. The menagerie creatures are very small and low to the ground, and unlike the horses, they have no decoration or secondary carvings. If you look closely at the menagerie animals and the horses, you can easily surmise they were not carved by the same person. The horses are large and boxy. The menagerie animals are small, curved, and plump. Some of the horses' faces are very thin, and some of the horses' eyes are shaped and placed like humans. Who carved the horses? Were the little animals part of a trade-in from another carousel? We don't know for certain. We know the carvers were not master carvers. This is folk art, with a beauty all its own. For years, no one thought the little animals came from the Parker factory, but Barbara Charles found evidence they did in her collection of Parker Company photos.
This is another one of the really funniest little animals here. And you know, the early photograph I have of Parker, and it may have been one of the first rides he made, had little animals like this on that. Parker makes his first carousel in 1901. He's been repairing other ones before that. This ride's 1908. It's really in what I call the first generation of Parkers, where he's trying to find his style. And this ride is really the biggest one he ever made. And so it's really his showpiece, you might say, for that first generation of rides for him.
Lakeside's merry-go-round is almost a century old, the biggest and the only Parker menagerie left. It's important for that reason alone, but it is special to carousel enthusiasts because this carousel seems to have a special heart and soul.
Brenda, it's hard to tell you how unbelievable it was when I first saw this carousel. I mean, I didn't know what it was. I mean, it was just so wild with these figures. I'd never seen anything like it. It's truly one of the great carousels of America, and you just have to treasure it. It absolutely is. I mean, for Parker, to me, it's the star, all-time star Parker, and it's a gem.
The Krasner family has preserved a slice of Americana in the heart of the city.